Everything you've learned about the concept of masculine and feminine is completely wrong. And worse, this confusion is sabotaging your spiritual evolution without you even realizing it. In this video, we're going to talk about the principle of gender from the Kybalion, one of the most misunderstood and yet most powerful Hermetic teachings that exist. My name is Noah, and you're watching the Hermes Code, where I help you study and apply Hermetic principles in practice. Together, we'll discover how gender manifests on every plane of existence, why you are a microcosm of the entire universe, and most importantly, how to identify who the father and mother of your own psyche are. Stay with me as we explore universal duality, the real roles of masculine and feminine in creation, and how to use this knowledge to take control of your inner growth process. To avoid even more confusion around the subject, let's start with the basic point that most people get wrong. The principle of gender has nothing to do with biological sex or social roles. We're talking about something much deeper and more universal. The Kybalion teaches that when the Absolute, this universal creative force, chooses to manifest and become creation, it must become dual. There is no manifestation without duality. Think about it. You can't have light without shadow, sound without silence, movement without stillness. These dualities are the models, the archetypes, of everything that exists or will exist in the universe. And here's the key. There are no absolutes within the universe. That's right, none. We carry within us the seed of everything that exists in the world, but when those seeds germinate, if we allow them to, their fruits will exist within the field of relativity. When you understand this, it opens a whole new level of awareness. You learn to see beyond yourself, and most importantly, to respect what exists beyond yourself. Why? Because you realize that what you see in the outside world also exists within you, in some form or degree. The universe is harmony through opposition. Harmony of dualities both within and outside of you. Every person who irritates you, every situation that challenges you, every quality you admire in someone else, all of it reflects aspects of your own nature. That may seem unsettling at first, but it's actually incredibly freeing. It means you have the power to understand and transform any situation, because you carry within you the keys to interpret everything you encounter in the world. And what are the roles of the masculine and feminine principles in the creation of all that is manifested? That's exactly what we're about to explore, in a way that's not too complicated to understand. I just hope that what you're about to hear doesn't turn your mind completely inside out. The masculine principle plays a specific role. It initiates the process, sparks the beginning. It's like the spark that ignites the fire. It sets the creative process in motion, and then stops there. And the feminine principle? That's the real worker. The feminine principle moves and emits the energy necessary for creation. It's the most active, most dynamic force in the energetic field. The feminine creates on its own, from that initial impulse, across all planes. But here's something we need to be absolutely clear about. One principle is not better or worse than the other. One doesn't act without the other. There is no purely masculine or purely feminine creation. The masculine without the feminine is sterile, a spark without fuel. The feminine without the masculine is power without direction, energy with no focus. And this applies to everything in your life. Every idea you have, every emotion you feel, every action you take. All of it is gendered, meaning it has a father and a mother. Once you learn to recognize this, you can begin to control your process of generation. For example, let's say you have a brilliant idea for a project. That idea was born from the meeting of your masculine principle, which identified an opportunity, a direction, and your feminine principle, which is now nurturing, developing, and giving shape to that idea. The maternal principle will generate the greatest sources of energy for that idea to manifest. But without the initial impulse from the masculine principle, it would remain nothing more than unrealized potential. And here we arrive at the heart of the Hermetic teaching. You are a microcosm. By knowing yourself, you will know the universe. This is a universal law. Everything that exists in the macrocosm, in the entire universe, also exists within you, in miniature. Every force, every principle, every possibility. You are a compact version of the entire cosmos. That means anything you do with a spirit of self-improvement will lead you to grow, because you are working with the same forces that operate throughout the universe. You are not separate from creation. You are creation becoming aware of itself. But how does this work in practice? Let's talk about recognizing the gender of your inner experiences. When you feel an emotion, ask yourself, what is the masculine principle behind this emotion? What initiated it? What directed it? And what is the feminine principle? How is it unfolding? What kind of energy is it generating? When you have an idea, ask the same question. What gave the initial impulse for that idea to arise? And how is it being nurtured, developed, and sustained within you? This applies to actions too. Anything you decide to do has a masculine aspect. The decision, the direction, the impulse, and a feminine aspect, the execution, the development, the persistence, and the manifestation. Learning to see within yourself the seed of everything you see outside, that is the key to true self-knowledge. Once you master this, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming a co-creator of your reality. Quick pause here. I want to ask you a question that might shift your perspective. Looking at your life right now and analyzing how you act, can you identify which principle is more active within you, the masculine or the feminine? Leave your answer in the comments. I'd really love to know your perspective. Now let's talk about a topic few people have the courage to face: your shadows, and how they are directly linked to the principle of gender. In medieval alchemy, there are three fundamental stages: the black work, the white work, and the red work. Each of these phases represents a stage in the process of inner transformation. The black work is when you confront your shadows, the parts of yourself you don't want to see. The white work is when you purify and integrate those shadows. And the red work is when you are reborn with a new understanding of yourself. But here's what most people don't realize. When we don't learn how to deal with our shadows, we end up projecting them outward through the masculine principle of gender, in order to experience and grow from them. This is an experiential necessity for growth. You know that person who deeply irritates you? The one you just can't understand. Like, how can someone be that disorganized, for example? That person is mirroring a shadow of yours that you haven't yet recognized or integrated. And that quality you admire so much in someone else, the one you believe you could never possibly have, that quality also exists within you. You just haven't learned how to develop it yet. This happens because nature is constantly working to help all beings grow and evolve. The universe conspires for you to become whole, to integrate every aspect of yourself. And this is where the principle of gender comes in. Your shadows also have masculine and feminine aspects. Your projections also follow this duality. When you learn to recognize this, you can consciously work with these forces instead of being ruled by them. For example, let's say you have a shadow of anger. The masculine aspect of that anger is what triggers it, what gives it direction. The feminine aspect is how it manifests, how it grows within you. When you recognize both, you can transform that anger into fuel for positive change. But can you really control the internal process of generation? Now we arrive at the most important moment. How to use all of this to take control of your inner growth. The question you should always ask yourself is, who is the father and who is the mother of my psyche? Let's get practical. Pay attention to your thoughts throughout the day. Some thoughts arrive with strength, clarity, and direction. These are generated by your inner masculine principle. Other thoughts develop slowly, expand, generate emotional energy. These are created by your inner feminine principle. When you recognize this, you can begin to consciously engage in a dialogue with both principles inside you. You can ask your inner masculine, what direction are you showing me? And your inner feminine, what energy are you generating to bring this into reality? This works in every area of your life. Want to develop a new skill? Identify the masculine impulse that's directing you toward it and the feminine energy that will sustain the learning process. Want to improve a relationship? Recognize the masculine aspect, maybe the need to set clear boundaries, and the feminine aspect, maybe the energy of compassion and openness you can bring into the dynamic. Want to create something new in the world? Identify the masculine spark of the original idea and nurture the feminine gestation that will give life to that creation. Remember, harmony through opposition is the key. It's not about choosing between masculine and feminine, but about balancing both within you. When you do that, you stop being a passive observer of your life and start becoming its director. You begin to understand that every challenge, every opportunity, every person who crosses your path is a chance to apply this knowledge. A chance to recognize dualities at work and consciously collaborate with them. And the most beautiful part of all, the more you master this internal process, the more you contribute to the harmony of the entire universe. Because you, as a microcosm, are aligning your inner forces with the universal ones. Now that you know the true principle of gender, one question remains. How will this new understanding transform the way you relate to yourself and to the world? Because now you know, you are not a victim of circumstance. You are a conscious co-creator, with the power to recognize and direct the dual forces operating within you. The next time you look in the mirror, remember, you're looking at an entire universe. And the next time you look at another person, remember, you're seeing a reflection of aspects that also exist within you. How are you going to use this knowledge? How will you apply this Hermetic wisdom to your self-discovery journey? If this video in any way helped expand your awareness of the Hermetic principles, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next teachings from the Kybalion. They have the power to transform your life. And if you recognized any part of yourself in what you heard today, leave a like. It shows me I'm on the right path to keep bringing you more transformative content. I'll see you in the next video. My name is Noah, and this was my contribution.